Alright, so we're finally recording, and again, today's topic will be about C++. This is going to be the very first topic that we're going to discuss under C++ programming language. So today is going to be a hands-on activity, the start of our hands-on activities. So C++ basics. So we've already been talking about C++ in the past couple of meetings already. So we all know that C++ is going to be our programming language that we'll be discussing for ITS 101, and that is because C++ offers the most basic or the easiest approach with regards to programming. And once you already understood or already good enough, kabalo na tao when it comes to the basics of C++, programming, will be able to understand and learn more programming languages much easier. Because most programming language has the same programming approach. Alright, the only thing that differs are the syntax. Kumbaga, ang grammar ang gantit kapareha. So like I said, if we're going to compare it to actual human language, although lahi ita og grammar nga gigamit, but it's the same approach. Meaning we have different translation for the same thing. For example, if let's say nakay sudlay, alright? So sa Bisaya, gitawag siya sudlay. Sa Tagalog, gitawag siya suklay? I'm not sure. And then
Supply.
Okay, suklay. And then sa English, it's called come. Well, sa pronounce ana. But again, it's the same case, same approach, but lahi-lahi yung translation. So it would be easier for us to understand different programming languages as long as nakabalo na ta unsay basics. Alright, if we are able to understand one programming language or the basic of programming, fundamentals of programming through one programming language, then it would be easier for us to understand further more programming languages in the future. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to start learning about C++, and from this point and by the end of the semester, we are going to, every time in class it's going to be about coding. So those applications that I ask you to download and install on your phone or on your computer, today we'll get to learn it today. Alright, so if you have any questions or clarifications, just share it with the class. You don't necessarily have to go to minty.com, but just raise your hand inside Google Meet, or you can send your question directly through tagging call messages. Okay, so just a review. Last meeting we discussed about PDLC, Program Development Lifecycle. So were you able to finish your work on the simulation? Did I ask you to, or did I assign a simulation programming process, or gipagama rata mo og katong flowchart and algorithm?
Flowchart.
Sir.
Okay, it's fine. All right. So
No charter, sir.
sa third year, they also have what we call web development lifecycle. It's the same thing with program development lifecycle, but for web development. And I actually assigned them to simulate from the defining katubang mga stages ba. All right, but it's okay. For you guys, I just ask you to create a flowchart and the algorithm. So it's okay, it's fine. All right. So I'm hoping everybody's done already. Muna ba?
Mana, sir.
All right. So
No, sir.
Mana, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, just keep your camera turned on then. Okay. Para just keep your camera turned on. Thank you. I don't yung palunga po. I don't palunga if na ka-wifi man gani. Okay. All right, thank you. So you can also watch the replay of that class here. This is the old one, but I can probably upload a new last week na itong class, maybe today or later today. So today we'll talk about C++ basics, particularly what exactly is C++, how to install C++, and we're going to create our very first C++ program. And one function, we're going to learn another function, which is output. how do we display text using C++. And that's it for today. And then in our next meeting, we're going to dig in deeper with the C++. C++, and that's going to be about variables. And we're going to actually make use of C++ in creating useful program. So first of all, here, there are 3 things wrong in this picture. Find them, all right? Kinsa makatag og usa. There are three things that is wrong sa yok ani nga picture. Would anybody would like to share or just raise your hand if nakakita mo usa and then share it to the class. It's to Gideon, go ahead.
Ang date, sir, December 32.
Okay, that's right. Date. All right. Let me see if I can annotate this. Hold on. Taysa ha. Okay, I'm using. All right, did na ko ma-annotate, but it's okay. Yes, the date is December 32. That's one. What else? Line of code. Crystalline.
Yes, sir. Ang katong traffic light, sir. Katong wala siya red.
Okay, all right, that's correct. So the traffic light naara siya katong red. Ito? Warning o katong go. Warning ba ng yellow? Mura bag ready to stop pa, something like that. Wala siya stop. Okay? Alright, isa pa. There one more thing that is wrong. Isa lang.
Kaning train, sir, wala siya truck.
Di ba? Erase ang mong hand, di ba? Alright, so let's listen to Kuan. I think it was Sarah. Go ahead.
Sorry, sir.
It's okay.
Sir, kaning sa bus, sir, kay nag-headset ang driver.
Nag-headset ang driver. O ba? O ka ba? Di ko kabantay. Alright, so I don't think that is something is wrong. Ano pa lain? RG.
May ligid ang bus, sir.
Walay ligid ang bus. Do you think it's bus?
Train.
No, sir.
It's a train, right? Okay, the wrong is wala siya. Trail. Sito ka na.
Railway, sir.
Railway.
Truck, sir.
Alright, so that's all the 3 na sayop ani nga picture. So first is the date. It's December 32nd. The stoplight doesn't have the traffic light doesn't have stop light, and then the train doesn't have a railway. Alright, so why is it that I'm showing you this? Because programming is about one of the good attribute of a good programmer is being able to spot an error. So especially in programming, it's very good. It's an advantage for programmers to be able to spot errors just looking in their eyes, but just using their eyes rather. Alright, so that's the reason why I asked you to look for some errors in this picture. Right? C++. What is C++? C++ is a popular cross-platform language that can be used to create from single programs to high-performance applications like operating systems, browsers, video games, art applications, and so on. Developed by Bjorn Sjöstrup in 1979 at Bell Labs, C++ is largely based on the C programming language. Alright, so I have here my tablet, but I don't think I will be able to annotate. Hold on, let me see if I can annotate para pwede ko magsulat sa screen. Sadali lang. Dara. Yes. Uy, signature man eh. Signature. Sadali lang ha. Let me see if I can annotate. Hold on. Bayaran number, right? Alright, I don't think I will be able to annotate this, so it's okay. All right. So C++ was founded or developed in 1979 by John Sustrup. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation, but it was largely based on C programming language. So maybe some of you have heard a programming language, another programming language called C. And in fact, when I was in first year, katong first year ko sa IT, diri sa NORSU, C, mao among programming language. But right now, why is it that it's C++? It's because C is an older version. And the reason why it's called C++, okay? I'm not sure if I can. Let me just reason why plus means increment. In programming, increment. Isa pa sa pag-increment. What do you mean by increment siguro, guys? Kinsa to, wala ako kabantay. Kinsa niyo, Rex? Just go ahead. Gideon, go ahead.
Kaning ga-increase, sir.
Okay.
Nga number.
Alright, that's true. So in ang plus means increment. What I mean by increment is increase one step. Meaning ni-increase siya og one step. Increase one step. Or one step or one move or something like that. So the reason why C++ means an increment from C. That's why na-siya plus. Alright, so C++ is largely based on C programming language. And although it is one of the easiest programming language we can learn, it can be used to create from very simple programs, just like what we'll be doing here, to high performance applications. Like I said, operating systems, browsers, video games, and art applications, and so on. So that's C++. C++ programming language is capable of developing diverse types of secure, efficient, and reliable applications like, again, computer games, web client and server applications, device drivers, embedded systems, and more. So, although, again, C++ is an easy programming language, it is capable of creating high-end na mga programs or applications. To get started, you need to download an IDE or Integrated Development Environment and a C++ compiler. Today, we'll be using Dev C++ by Bloodshed, a free, portable, and simple C++ IDE with a built-in compiler. For smartphone users, we will use CXX Droid. Once installed, you may start working on your very first C++ program. So, question: have you installed Dev C++ for laptop or computer users, and CXX Droid for smartphone users? Naka-install na ba taan na?
Pa-install na, sir.
Sir. Yes, sir. Sir.
Okay. All right. That's good. So we'll be able to use that today, later on, as we go along with our as we create our very first C++ program. So using Dev C++, please take note. To start writing a program, you have to start by creating a new project. So first, go to File, and then New, and then Project. Then select Console Application under the Basic tab. Click the C++ project button, enter the project name, and click OK. So let's try to do just that. Let me open up Dev C++. So this is how to prepare C++ using Dev C++. Alright, so once you open up and then New, and then Project. Okay, File, New, and then Project, and then you will get this New Project in a dialog. Make sure you're under Basic, and then select Console Application. So na siya Windows application, console application, static library, and so on. But we want to do a console application because that's what we're going to do here in Programming 1. And then make sure to select C++ project. And then after that, enter the project name. So let's say my first C++ program. All right, and then click OK. All right, and then make sure to locate o asan nyo ibutang, asan nyo i-save ang yung C++ program. So I would suggest to create a folder first. And magbutang siya sa tanan ng mga C++ programs so that in the future, if you wanted to review your codes, makitaan rin yun dayon. So ako, nakagama na ko.
Sir, excuse me, sir. Sir,
Go ahead.
naka-download ko C++ sa akong Android na cellphone, sir.
And then,
Baso mo, gana rin eh.
okay, we'll try. All right. Again, next time if we're going to interrupt, please raise your hand first. Okay?
Sorry, sir.
It's okay. All right. So again, you guys, if you want to interrupt or if you want to say something, just raise your hand first, and then I'll call your name. Thank you. All right. So again, after you click OK, look for the location where you're going to save your project. So in my case, I've already created a folder. So I think it was in nalimot ko as nalimutan. Hold on. All right. It's okay. In this case, we'll create a new folder na lang. So I'm going to go to our folder, the first semester, and then computer programming 1. And then we'll create a new folder. Just click here, and let's call it C++ program. Okay, open it up. In that way, next time para ganatang i-view at mga codes, it would be easy for us to locate all of your programs. And save here, and then we'll start programming. So by default, you'll get these bunches of codes. We're going to learn each line of them. So this is where we can start writing our codes. That is for Dev C++. Now let's try how to do it using CXX Droid. So by the way, you will be prompted to select where you want to save the project, just like what we did. Once set, click save. You can now begin working on your very first C++ program. So just a recap. So you click File, New Project, and then you'll get this dialog. Select Basic, select Console Application, select C++ Project, enter your project title or project name, and then click OK. And after that, you will be prompted to look for the location and then save. All right. Now for CXX Droid, for using smartphone users, of course using smartphone users, if wala may laptop, wala may computer, please use CXX Droid. Kanilang, ayaw lang mag-install og lain ng mga applications because I haven't done it yet, and I don't think I will be able to help you if there are any problems. So to start writing a program using your smartphone, install and open CXX Droid. You will be routed to a new C++ file. You should be able to start writing your program from there. However, to write and compile your program easier, you have to save your work first by tapping at the kaning folder na icon, then save as. Navigate to the folder where you want to save your file, then tap select folder, input the file name with file extension CXX, and then click save. So let me just show it to you. I know that's a little too long for an instruction. So when you open up CXX Droid, the first thing that you will see is this screen. The first one on the left side. Before anything else, before you write your code, you have to save it first. Okay? Just tap on the folder icon at the top. Connect, and then click Save As. And then look for the location where you want to save your folder or your project. And then once Ana, click Select Folder. And file. Make sure to save it with CXX na file extension. Okay? So this is the difference between CXX Droid and Dev C++, the file extension. So the Dev C++, ang iyang extension is DEV. Sa CXX Droid, it's CXX. Right? But it's the same thing. Right? And after that, save and then start writing your code. So again, for Android users or for smartphone users, it would be best to save your project first so that you'll be able to execute it. Meaning, pwede nimong i-run. Anthony, go ahead.
Sir, na tendency sir once na-save na gaya siya nimo sir. Then type ka na tendency nga makorrupt imo ang gikuan sir. Game.
So far, I haven't experienced that, and in my previous class, previous years, gama og CXX, right? I haven't heard anybody who's kuan kanang na problema sila kay na corrupt. So I didn't think it's gonna be a problem because CXX join or CXX files, C++ files are just too little file size. Kamay ra kay siya, text file na siya. If you can see, it's di kay siya kabot og 1 kilobyte. Here, some of the ang pinakadako siguro is kani 1009 bits only pag siya kabot og 1 kilobyte. So it wouldn't cause any problem of any corruption or anything like that since gamay ra kay siya nga file size. Maybe it will cause file corruption if your phone is really slow. If hinanadyo kayo ang phone and then you're doing a very large file. But otherwise, I don't think my previous students was fine. And nag-reklamo sila because of corrupt. Okay? So, don't you worry. As you can see here, nara 533 bits, 1.2 kilobyte, or naday pinakataas, 1.2 kilobyte. And what is 1.2 kilobyte? Kamay ra kayo na siya. It wouldn't take a lot of memory, so it wouldn't cause any corrupt files at all. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem. So this is how your C++ program is going to look like. So if you're expecting that you'll be able to create katong robust na programs, boy, you're wrong. Alright, so from katong sa pag-install nato sa C++, it's just a console application. So meaning, naaray mga list of instructions. Our program will be using mura ni output. Black with white text. Alright. But our goal here is to get the idea on how computer programming works. So once we already know how to do a console-based na program using C++, it would be easy for you to actually use program using katong na mga graphics. But in this course, in C++, basic programs lang sa. Naratay black na background with white text on it. So let's begin by writing a simple program that will display hello world on the screen. Write the following code. So we're going to write this down, and then we are going to use the dev C++, and let's see how it works. So basically, I think I already discussed it previously. So every time that we're going to do a programming, we need a text editor, and then after that we are going to compile it. So what do you mean by compiling? Basically, we need text editor to enter the codes to our computer, and we need a compiler to read those codes, and translate it into machine function or machine language. Alright, para makita nato kung sa atong output. So that's the good thing about using dev C++ because it has a built-in compiler already. Otherwise, sa uban nga mga programmers, if mo gamit sila lain nga mga text editors, kinahanglan sila mo install of another compiler, and just executing the file will take a lot of work. But don't you worry, using dev C++ is gonna be very easy. Okay, so let's start creating our very first program, and it's gonna be the good old hello world. Hold on, let me open up dev C++. So let's erase all of it, and then we are going to examine and we're going to discuss each line of the code. So for the first line, we will write include IOStream. Alright, for the meantime, just take note, and after this, after we successfully execute this code, we're going to discuss each line. Okay? And after that, we're going to add using namespace. What exactly this mean? We'll discuss it in a moment. And then int main, and then open and close curly brackets. Alright, and then let's just directly create our hello world text. So to do that, we'll add cout, and then double quotation, and then hello world, and then end it with a semicolon, and then to end the program, let's add return 0. That's it. I know it's a little complicated, but again, we'll discuss it. We'll discuss each line in just a moment. So now that we're done, so basically these are the code. We're going to run it. Okay, so to do so, just we'll have to save it first. Just click File and then Save. And then I've already created a C++ program. Nawala akong gi-share screen. Nawala akong gi-share screen, tinood?
Narapan, sir.
Para sir.
Okay. Alright, I think sa ito nag-message. Si Joshua, try to reload na lang or just wait until your screen mo display siya sa akong gina-share. Alright? Okay. So again, the next thing that you're going to do is to save it. So for the meantime, let me save it on the C++ program na ako ang create na folder ganina. Let me rename the file name to something else since we'll only be doing one project command. So let's say hello world and then save. Okay, once it's saved, we'll try to run it. Let's see if it's working. All you need to do is click on execute at the top and then compile and run, or just shortcut F11 on your keyboard. Again, this is using Dev C++, okay? And then I'm going to demo as well using CXX Droid in a moment. Let me see if naba yung CXX Droid. Hold on. Wala. Okay. So while we are trying to execute it on our Dev C++, let me install it on my phone real quick. Let's see CXX Droid. Okay. Alright, so again, once you're done, once you saved it, just click on execute, compile and run, or just directly click F11 on your keyboard. Alright, and wait until the compiler is done reading the file. If this is the first time that it's running, it may take a little while. So here, so that's it. Notice that it was able to say hello world. So this is the compiler, kaning black. And this is just our goal. Very simple lang. We're going to run the program on a console basis. This is a console, and we know that our program run doesn't have any errors because it was able to say hello world on the screen. Okay, so let's try again. Let's close that and let's change it to hello world. Welcome to Computer Programming 1. All right. Okay, let's save, Control S, and then execute, compile and run. And wait until the compiler is done reading it. Here. So I was able to say, hello world, welcome to Computer Programming 1. So this is going to be our very first computer program. It's very easy. It's not useful right now because we are just trying to get the hang of learning how to create C++ program. And in our future discussions, we're going to create a more robust or more useful program in the future, in our future lessons. Alright, so this time around, let's try to run this one by one. We're going to discuss each line of these codes and its functions. Alright, so let us understand each part of the program below. So this is our code, katong code atong gamit kanina. And then let's discuss it one by one. And what is its function? And what is purpose? And is it necessary to write this down every time or not? So the first line is the include IO stream. It includes the standard input and output library function. This is necessary so that our program is capable of receiving and displaying data. So you can call it that this is very important line. We should always start with this line. If we want to use, if ganatang mo gamit of input and output function. What do you mean by input and output? Anyone would like to explain? Ano siya pasangkot of input and output?
Input, sir, kay nasa sulod.
Oh, go ahead, Hamlet. Go ahead.
Tapos output kay nasa gawas proper.
What do you mean as na sa gawas? Alright. Let's listen to Sinila. Go ahead.
Sir, ang input para na po, sir, is kanang imo ganing gamon nga kuan. I mean, kanang imo gamon nga program dayong ang output is sa kuan kanang result.
Okay. Alright, that's good. Napatulayan. Kinsa to? Patanaw sa screen. Kinsa to? Raise your hand. Go ahead. Anthony. Wala ko kabantay atong ganina. Sige, go ahead, Anthony.
Kuan sir, input is kuan sir kanang ga-enter ka og something sa kuan sir sa computer or unsa ni gabutang og numbers ba or unsa pa mo ang gipang butang sir, then ang output is result sa imuhang gi-type or gi-kuan sir gi-input.
Alright, that's correct. Alright. So when we say input, you are trying to enter data. Alright. It could be either text, numbers, whatsoever. It could be either even your voice, your pictures, nana. So long as you're trying to upload it or enter it on your computer, that's input. And output is the other way around, displaying something from the computer or from the system or from the program. So that's output. Now, ganina, we were doing an output because we were trying to display a text hello world on our screen. So dili siya mogana if dili nato gamiton na ang IO stream. So there are a lot of libraries, okay, that we may have to use on C++, but for input and output function, that means para makagamit ta og input and output, we'll have to use the IO stream. We need to include the IO stream. So again, in the future, we may have to enter other types of library function, but the basic one would be the IO stream. So the hash include, so that's just a command that we want to add a library function, and that library function is the IO stream. So napailain ana na atoy medyo nalimot ako because I haven't done programming for a year already because every first sem ron ko makatudlo good. But there are a lot of library functions, not just IO stream, but ang pinaka basic, and every time that we're going to create a program, we should always include it, is the IO stream. Again, unsa lang gani ang IO stream? Unsa lang gani siya? Go ahead nila. Neil. Alright, it's a library function, okay? Library function. And that is the basic, pinaka-basic library function that we should always add, or we should always include in our program. So therefore, the first line is dapat naa siya always. Naa siya always because without the IO stream, we are not capable of performing input and output function. Understood? Yes, sir. Okay. And then next is the second line, using namespace std. It sets any undeclared identifiers to default for standard. The std, it's not katong sexually transmitted disease, but it's a shortcut or an abbreviation for standard. Right? So using namespace std, that means all the identifiers that we'll be using, we'll talk about identifiers in the future, but let's just say ang tanan nga mga codes na kanang mga codes ba nga kanang specific ra siya for C++ is gonna be the standard one. Example ana mao ning cout. Cout is the one we are using for output. That is an identifier. So basically, everything should be the standard namespace for C++. So I don't think that makes a lot of sense, but just take my word for it. Every time that we're going to create a program, we should always add using namespace std. Good, always. Alright? So that means both line 1 and 2 should always be added in our program. So we already have IO stream, include IO stream, and then using namespace std. And make sure to add a semicolon. Alright, this is very important. Semicolon means it's already at the end of the line. Proceed to the next. So that's one of the most common nga mga mistake, errors. Kanang mga errors sa inyong program will be caused by simple semicolon. Daghang kang errors, ito ang problema, ang semicolon lang. So think of it that every time that we're going to end a line, we should always end it with semicolon, with special exception, of course. Alright. The next one is the int main, the third line, int main. It is the main function where the program execution begins. It is followed by curly brackets, indicating the start and end of the function. Alright, so inside the int main are the function. Meaning function, that is where we're going to write all the codes that we want to run in our program. So if ang line 1 of 2 are default, kumbaga default sila, and the line 3 is also default one, but inside the line 3, which is int main, muna na siya ato ang mga functions ng atong ihatag sa atong computer, sa atong program. Di na natin ibutang atong mga instructions, diba? Programming is giving instruction to computer. So this is where we will add all the instruction that we want our computer to do, or we want our program to do. So we'll start with int main, meaning initial na function. Pinakauna nga mga function. So main here is, from the term suggests, main function. Diyan nato ibutang ang main functionality sa atong program. So it is followed by with a parenthesis, and as you can see, it is followed with curly brackets. And inside the curly brackets, diyan nato ibutang ang atong mga codes. Anthony, go ahead.
Sir, ang 1, 2, 3 fix na ilang kuan diya, sir? Ilahang sa position diya na gina sila, sir?
Yes.
Always.
Yes. It should always the line 1, which is include IOStream using namespace std and int main, should always be added in our program every time. Okay, especially for this programming language, programming 1, pinaka basic. Since most of the programs we'll be doing are just basic ones, dili mo ta mo gama og games dire. So maybe if we're going to create games, maybe napatay lain nga i-add, right? Napatay daghan pa, pwede ta mo add og another function library. Pwede ta mo use of other namespace. But for basic programming, we will be using include IOStream using namespace and int main. All programs should always have int main. Alright? Because that is the start of our program. Good. Diyan na dyan nato ibutang. Diyan man nato ibutang ang ato ang codes inside the int main. So the int main should always be followed by parentheses and curly brackets. So kaning int main, the reason why wala siya semicolon, it's because the line doesn't end here. Wala pa ta nahuman diri dapita. After sa int main, it should always be followed by curly brackets. And inside the curly brackets are the functions, the codes that we want to, or the instructions that we want to add to our program. Okay? And then, like I said, int main should always be followed with curly brackets because diyan ato ibutang atong codes. So these are the functions natong gi-add sa atong program. Di nato siya pwedeng ibutang gawas sa curly bracket or before the curly bracket. It should always be inside the curly brackets. And asa na bilong ang curly brackets? Kinsay tag-iya sa curly brackets again? Asa na siya nabilong? Gideon.
After sa int main, sir.
Alright, sa int main. So it's part of the initial nga function, the main function. So pwede ang atong parenthesis ibutang nato next to it. Parenthesis, kaning curly bracket, pwede na ito ibutang diri nga side. But for aesthetic purposes, let's put it below para nindutan na. Alright, so next, let's discuss the second line, or kaning, line number 5. This program displays hello world on the screen. As you can see, it starts with double forward slash. Not backslash, forward slash, meaning slash leaning to the right. This means this is a comment. It does not contribute to how the program works or display in the program execution. This is only used to keep programmers be guided writing long lines of codes. So this is how we add comments. When you say comments, it doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't have any functionalities on your program. It just let you programmers guide. Sayo pa. It will just guide the programmers, especially if they're already working on very long codes. Okay, so wala na ako na nabutang sa atoang code, so let's try. So here, let's add a comment. So to add a comment, just add 2 forward slashes and then write the comment. For example, kana. So para asa ang comment? Para na siya mag-guidean ang programmer, especially if you will be doing hundreds of lines or maybe thousands or tens of thousands of codes. And ganahan ra ka nga mag-guidean kag asa ron dapita kay ganahan i-edit for a specific functionality, we will use comment. I often use comment good because especially in web development, for programming 1, wala ko nakasulay og daghan kay nga code, but in web development, moabot ko maybe couple of hundreds of lines of codes. So, para mangita ko og something nga akong i-edit, pag run ako, hindi ko ganahan kong i-edit. It will take me a lot of time to look for it, so that's why I always make sure to add a comment. So, to add a comment, just add 2 forward slashes and then write your comment. Again, it doesn't do anything, it does not contribute on the functionalities of the program, but it will just help the programmers be guided. Okay, understood? And then next is the C out and then 2 open angle brackets, hello world. This is a command to display the hello world message on the screen. Syntax for output. So this is the command that will allow us to display a text to the screen. So it's not count but C out. So this is the reason why we need to use excuse me. Alright. This is the reason why we have to add or include the IO stream. For us to be able to output a text, we need to include the IO stream, just like what we discussed a while ago. But how to display a text? We need to use the cout function. So again, to write it down, cout, and then 2 open angle brackets, and then your text should be enclosed with double quotation mark, and then end it with a semicolon. And then after that, return 0. It tells the compiler that it is the end of the main function, thus terminating the program. Each line of the program must always end with a semicolon. It serves as a statement terminator. This means the compiler must proceed to the next line. Alright, so after our maura man itong instruction, if you're done adding all the instruction or codes that you want to add to your program, obviously we have to stop. We need to tell the computer that, oh, it is the end of our program. You may terminate now. So if you can remember back in our katong nag-create out flowchart na tay start or end, can you still remember? Unsa lang itong nga shape gani gamitan nato na for start and end? Unsa nga shape?
Oblong, sir.
Oblong or
Oval.
ellipse. Oval, that's right. Oval, circle, oval rather. Oval, oblong, however you want to call it, ellipse. That's the start and end, or basically the terminator. So we need to tell our compiler that it is the end of our program, otherwise there might be a chance that it's going to be looping. And once it's looping, then it could cause an error. Pwede siyang crash, but just to be safe, we should always end our program with this, return 0, semicolon. Now, all of the functions or the lines of codes that we'll be adding to our program should always end with a semicolon. So once you kana medyo ma-expose na maayo sa programming, one of the most common errors that you'll encounter, this is based on my experience and my students' experience in the past. Grabe kay daghan na nag-aguban goal na kaayo kay bali nang daghan ng error, gitry og fix dayon musamot na nung kadaghan ng error ba every time. Dito semicolon ra day problema. Always make sure that each lines of codes that you'll be adding inside your main function except of course with the comment, because comment doesn't do anything. So katura mga naay mga functions nga lines of codes, make sure to end it with semicolon. Always end with semicolon. Because that means the compiler, because if without the semicolon, the compiler will expect na naapay sumpay. So iyang i-try og connect ang first line og ang second line. However, since they are not related to each other, that's why it will give you an error. So let's try that. Let's try removing a semicolon to our code. Let's try to remove this. What's gonna happen is that iyang i-try og connect ni. Pagbasa niya sa line number 5, since wala matay semicolon, the compiler will expect na if mapadayon siya green, which is this, mapadayon siya dire, gatuo siya nga this line and this line are connected. So since iyahang di-connect ang line 5 of line 8, obviously it will not make any sense. Di na siya mo make sense sa compiler. That's why it will give us an error. So let's save that and then execute, compile and run. Here, it will give us an error. But don't you worry, that's the good thing about using C++, Dev C++, because it will tell us what exactly is the error, is the problem. So it says here that expected semicolon. So meaning, ka-expect siya nga magbutang ta og semicolon. So sometimes, the compiler, if the error is too easy, same lang kayo ang error, the compiler will actually tell us. So if it's just a simple syntax error, meaning nara kayo nasayop na code, then the compiler will be able, or that C++ will be able to tell you ang error. However, if it's gonna be a logical error, I don't think the compiler or that C++ is capable of telling you that. But if it's just a simple syntax error, when you say syntax, nara mga grammar error, kung sa paan pa na siya, human language, nara kay mga nalimtan, mga text, mga symbols, then it will tell, the compiler is going to tell you. So it says here that in line 8, we are expecting a semicolon before return. So before return, dapat na atay semicolon right before the return. So asa na ito ibutang semicolon? Here, because again, this is a comment, it doesn't contribute anything. One is labot. So we'll add a semicolon. Let's save that. Let's run. Compile and run. Go ahead, Anthony.
Semicolon, sir, ibutang sa every step.
Again, every lines of code na naasa to ang initial function or int main should always end with a semicolon. Mara dyan na siya. The only exception is if it's gonna be a comment, then we don't necessarily have to do that because again, it's comment, it doesn't do anything to the program. So every line of codes that you'll be using, that you'll be adding, should always end it with a semicolon. Okay. All right, and testing your C++ program. So we've already done it. So C++, how to test your C++ program? Okay, to see if your program is working, we need to compile and run it. To do so, just click Execute menu, select Compile and Run, or simply press F11 on your keyboard. For CXX Droid, tap the play icon at the bottom of the screen. So let me show it to you para di maglisod ang mga CXX user. Let me show it to you how it works. So ganina, dev C++, that is for laptop or personal computer users. This time, let me show how to do the same thing that we did using CXX Droid. Let me connect my phone first to my computer. Hold on. Alright. So, see? Okay, I'm already connected. Can you see my screen? I'm not sure if you can see it clearly. Makita rin nyo, I'm currently using my phone now. So I will be able to show you. Alright. So, I'll be using my phone. Please bear me. Okay, when you open up the... Okay, let me start from the very beginning. Tada. Let's open up CXX Droid, and this is the first thing that you'll see. Makita lang ba?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me see if pwede na ako. Hindi na ako siya ma-rotate. Let's see if pwede ba na ako siya ma-rotate para mas dapat yung makita. Alright, kani. Anak na lang. This one's better. Although kaya akong keyboard. Alright, it's okay. So this is the first thing that you'll see, okay? When you open up dev C++, you'll see that it says new. So that means wala pa. And unsa kito pinakauna na to buhaton?
I-save, sir.
Save that. Alright? Before doing anything else, make sure to save it first. So just to save it, just tap on the kaning folder icon at the top right corner and then save as. Okay, let me minimize my keyboard. Let me see if I can minimize it. Dara. Okay. So again, tap on the folder icon, kaning apart. Tap on that and then click on save as. Alright, let's just quit this and then let me look for asa na yung maibutang. Just look wherever you want it to save. So I would suggest to you just by default, I think it should be in the public documents by default, and I guess that would be the easiest way to do it. So let me just save it here, but it would be totally up to you, asa. So I'm going to save it in the public documents and then click start. So I'm using right now it's in my internal storage and then document and then CXX Droid. So the application will automatically create a folder for you. So then I CXX Droid and then tap on use this folder. And then This is for Android 11. Ang Android 11 medyo Android 12 rather. Android 12 medyo para siya. Android 12 is very keen on security, so that's why naayo mga inani maka-access files sito gani nalimot ko sa term. Basta inana natong i-allow. That way it will be able to it is capable of writing files on your memory on the memory of your phone. So just click allow and then that's it. Then click select folder at the top. So tap on the select folder at the top and then enter the file name. So let me enter, let's see, hello world. Done and then save. Alright, so once we're done, we'll start writing our code. So automatically mo-create siya inani, but since this is we'll follow what we've already discussed. So we'll erase everything and please help me write the code. Okay? Kinsay mo hatag sa pinakaunang nga line? Okay? Anyone? Help me write the code. Let's start with the first line. Kinsa to? Gideon, go ahead.
Katong include sir yung katong greater than less than nga sign IO streams isulod ang IO stream ato.
Alright, so here. Okay, it's hash include space and then open and close angle bracket and inside is unsa gani?
IO stream.
Oops, IO stream. Hold on. Okay, IO stream. Alright, that's correct. Alright, what's next? Say sunod nga line, anyone? Miguel, go ahead.
Using
Sing space CD sir.
Alright, using namespace. Oops. Langasa. Okay, thank you. Alright, using namespace std with a semicolon. Alright, next. Crystalline rather.
And name, sir, then close and open open and close parentheses.
Okay, in main. Is that all? Kana lang ba? Alright, remember that the bracket are part of the int main, okay? Part na siya. So, ang int main o ang curly brackets are basically part of each other. Alright, so inside our int main, let's say we will want to display hello world on the screen. What's next? Who would like to volunteer? Who would like to tell me what to display? Or what to write? Just if you want to display hello world, Maria Lee, go ahead.
Katong see out sir dayon katong more siya great ay more siya greater ay more
Less
siya
than.
greater than sir.
It's less than.
Ay less than sir.
Open angle brackets. Pila ka ba may butang?
Duha sir.
Dua, dayon.
Katong more siya
Double
more siya
quotation.
sa taas sir. Duha.
Double quotation. Siyempre, kuan sa taas. Okay. Double quote. Okay, double quotation. Alright, we'll add. And then, unsa itong ibutang diri gani? Hello world. Alright. Okay, and after that, kanilang ba? What else?
Semicolon sa
Semicolon.
next sir.
Okay, don't forget the semicolon. Alright, so if this is the end, what are we going to do next? Anyone? Rachel. Alright, that's true. Return 0. Make sure it's not O, okay? It's 0. That means it's the end of our program. So, is that all? Mao lang ba ni?
Alright, sir.
Alright. So, after that, we're going to save it again. Stop here. And then, asan to? Kanina kayo save. Then click on the folder and then click save until such time mawala yung asterisk. And once you're done, just tap on the play icon at the bottom. Kani. Stop on it. And here. Alright, it says here, hello world program finished. So that means we're able to run our C++ program using our phones. Alright, so it shouldn't be a problem for everyone, especially those who doesn't have any computers, because we can still code using our phones. That's a good thing about having a smartphone nowadays. because makagamit ra ta atong smartphone for just about anything. So it's gonna be a huge problem if nahitabo ang pandemic way before katong dili pa uso ang mga smartphone. Let's say sa among time, it's gonna be a huge problem. May gani kay nahitabo ang pandemic karon medyo advanced na ang technology. Pretty much we can program, we can do anything, pretty much anything using our smartphones. So that's it. So do you have any questions so far, especially for CXX Droid users? Do you think you'll be able? Do you need help? Do you need any more help with regards to? Or do you have any clarifications in using CXX Droid as your IDE? Wala ra? One question? Let's proceed. Okay, I'll take the silences. Kinsa to? Wala ko bantay. Anthony, go ahead.
What if sa kuan sir Android mag-error siya sir?
Okay, so if
Sa pagkabalo.
Alright, that's good. Let's try. That's a good question. I don't really know. Let me see if it will give us an error message. So let me open up the CXX Droid again. That's a good question. So let's try. Let's just open up our atong mga gigama ganina. Recent files. Let's open it up and let's purposely add an error. So let's remove the semicolon and then save. Let's see if it will tell us an error message. Narigapon. So it will give us an error. Let me see if I can show it to you. Alright. It will give us an error, and if you're going to read carefully, the error here says expected semicolon after expression see out hello world. So actually this time around, it's a little bit more mas sayon siyang subtone because iya yung ibutang og asa nimo ibutang ang semicolon. So here it's expecting a semicolon after see out hello world. Alright, so there is one error generated, although wala siya nabutang og asa nga line. I think here, kaning number 5 here, I think that is the line. And then 20 second, meaning that is the place. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 22, line 5, 22 place. And yan na to ibutang ato ang semicolon. So it's still a good thing using CXX Droid. It will still tell us if it's just a simple syntax error. CXX Droid is capable of telling us. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, not a problem. So to fix that, we'll just add semicolon and then save, and then let's run it again. All right, it's working now. All right. Okay, let me close it real quick. All right, let's proceed. So this is the code. You might wanna take a screenshot so you can try it yourself. You can always change the cout function later on. You can add your name, something like that. Okay, so this is the output. And then this is using CXX Droid. Anthony.
Sir, katong sa comment sir ba, pwede rito siya bisag asa ibutang?
Yes, comment.
Basta na siya sa sulod sa braces.
That's right. Alright, bisag asa niyo ibutang ang comment. And to write a comment, always add 2 forward slashes. So, by the end of that line, it will automatically put. Burabag, pag humani mo ang comment is pang one-liner siya, one line. So, meaning if mahumana ka sa previous line and you click enter or line break, automatically siya mo end na. So, just like here. Alright, so since, however, makawingon nga duwa ka line, but in fact, it's just one line. Pag enter na to diri dapita, the end na pud ang yung comment. So yes, you can add the comment everywhere you want, so long as it's inside our main function ng mga braces. Alright, so this is CXX Droid. This is the code, and this is the output. Kinsa to? O kabantay? Gideon.
Sir, okay ra po dilibot nga siya comment.
Yes. The comment is just the comment will only be used for your guide only. So especially if nag-code na daghan na kaayo, let's say you have hundreds of codes, kang naka-editon and medyo maglibog ka og asa na ron dapita. So comment is very useful in doing so. Right now, I don't see any good. I don't see any use for it during karon since programming one is just very simple programs matong gamiton. But again, just in case you'll be doing with with programs with hundreds or maybe thousands of codes, then comments are very useful para dali lang mo makita anong asa nimo. Katong nakipangitaon nga code imong editon, dali na lang because naa kay guide nga comments. Alright, Nila, go ahead.
Sir, dili na siya makaguba sa program, sir, basta kay naray katong slash.
Again, a comment doesn't do anything else. It's just there to guide programmers. So again, bisan pag daghanon pa nako na diha or sa asa nimo butang, the comment will not do anything. Just like on our example here, bisan daghanon pa nako na siya. Alright? And if I'm going to run it, execute compile and run. Alright, it's still going to work. Okay? Because comment again, automatic na siyang skip sa compiler. Alright? Napilang questions?
Thank you, sir.
Gideon, go ahead.
Kuan sir, ang comment, okay na siya bisag outside siya curly bracket?
No. Let's see. Let's try. That's a good question. Let's try. We're going to edit here. Alright, yeah, I think yes. Because comment is just there here to guide the programmers. So even if it's outside the main bracket, I don't think it's gonna cause any error because like I said, if makita ganig 2 forward slashes ang compiler, skip na niya automatic. Let's try. Let's add it outside the brackets. Alright, yeah, it's still working. Alright, napilang questions? Before proceed. Alright, this time let's discuss the output function. So we already did an output function by allowing us to display hello world. Let's just go on. Let's see how it works. So C++ output. To display any data from the program, we will use a predefined object for output, cout. Alright. In our example, the cout object is used to display a single line of text, hello world. To do so, type cout followed by open angle brackets, dua ka less than, right? And the text. The text must be enclosed with double quotation marks here. Then end with a semicolon. For example, cout and then 2 less than, or 2 angle brackets, open angle brackets, and then 2 quotation marks, double quotation marks, and then inside would be our text. So again, our text should always be enclosed with double quotation. If we're going to add a string, it's called string, and we'll discuss it in the future. But if we're going to add text ourselves, the text must be enclosed with double quotation. And then, of course, end it with a semicolon, just like that. Alright, so we've already done that here. As an example, we added cout and then 2 open angle brackets. Hello world, welcome to computer programming 1, and it's enclosed with double quotation. And the moment that we run it, dili makita ang double quotation. Okay, let's try again. Compile and run. So just make sure to add the double quotation, but like I said, if we're going to compile and run it, the double quotation is not going to be displayed. Alright? It's just there to let the compiler know that everything that's inside the double quotation should be displayed. Alright, so what about, okay, Anthony, go ahead.
Sir, ang sa kon, sir ba? Clarification lang sa C++, sir. Nag-kuhan pa siya, sir. Nag-depend pa na siya sa specs sa imuwang computer, sir.
Ang sorry, wala ko kaban. Nakoy na shock na nakita rin sa day.
Ang C++, sir, is kuhan pa na siya. Nag-depend pa na siya sa specs sa computer, sir.
Okay, alright, that's a good question. So this is to avoid any problems if you're using a very slow computer. Let's try. I don't personally know because as far as I know, C++ is very lightweight na application na program. So let's try C++. C++ system specification, system requirement. Asa ta pwedeng kanang pinakamaayo nga let me try to find a koan. Actually, it's not the C++ that we are supposed to be ang dili ang C++ ang ato ang i-worry when it comes to system requirement, but the IDE and the compiler, because they are the ones who will be working with C++. So I think what we're going to check is if ang IDE nga atong gigamit, which is the dev C++, unsa iyang system requirement, because C++ is just a programming language and it's not a working application. It's a programming language. So I don't think we can find any system requirements for that. However, what we are going to research on is kaya ba sa atong computer ang IDE nga atong gigamit, which is the dev C++. So let's check. The dev C++ system requirements. Dara. Hold on. Dara. Dere. Ay, dili man ni mao. Dapat ato ta sa dev C++ na website itself, the bloodshed. Para kaning uban magud kay mga idea ra man wala sleeper. Actually, our computers, atong computers by default, mga Windows computers, na sila pagkagalingon nga C++ compiler. However, paggamit natin ang compiler, daghan kitang buhaton ba? Daghan kitang gamiton nga codes para mapagana nato. So, dev C++ offers an easy execution, di ba? F11 lang, mura na siya. But if you're going to use the built-in compiler sa atong computers, daghan kitang buhaton. So, we're not gonna do that. That's why we installed dev C++. Okay? It's called Visual Studio 2022. Alright? That is the compiler for C++, but for built-in. But for dev C++, let me look for it. Alright, I think kanina lang, mamantay lang yung makita na sakto ba niya? Adi mo nyo, hold on. Dev C++, system requirement. Dari na lang ta. Alright, so this is according to file Hippo. Dev C++ 5.11. Specification is gonna be operating system. It's Windows from XP to 11. Memory RAM is at least 2 gigabytes, but I think that's too generous. I think dev C++ will still work with less than 2 gigabytes of RAM. This is so recommendation na hindi man siya minimum. But anyway, for hard disk drive, you need to have at least 500 megabytes of free space. And then processor is, even though 1 gigahertz of Intel Pentium-based processor can still work with dev C++. So dev C++ can pretty much work with any modern laptops or computers. Maybe bisa katong nadaan. So, and then net 4.5 framework required, and most of the time the net 4.5 are already installed in the Windows already, so we don't necessarily have to do that. Okay, so I don't think the dev C++ is gonna cause any problems, even though if you're using an old computers. So because again, dev C++ is just very lightweight application. Right? So did I answer your question, Kizato? Any question kanina? Anthony? Was it Anthony?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Not a problem. Okay, so let's proceed. Napatay output. Gaina, we're able to display one line only. How about if we're going to display multiple lines of codes? So that's easy. All we need to do is just add another one. Okay, we'll just add another C out here. Alright, for example, we'll remove hello world. And we'll add another C out. That is if we're going to add another code using C out. And then if we're going to run it, the problem is, what happens if inaniyo na to? What happens is, if we're going to save it and then compile and run, here's the problem. Musumpay siya into one sentence. If we're going to run it, may mo siyang one sentence. And what if we want it na ang welcome to computer programming, we want it to be having a line break, meaning na siya sa opposed sa hello world. So what are we going to do here? We can also display multiple lines of text. To do so, we will use an object, endl. Endl meaning end line. The endl is used to insert a new line of the output stream. To do so, put two open brackets after the text, then add the endl. Again, two open angle brackets, and end with add the endl and end with a semicolon. Another way of inserting new line is to put a \n inside the text body. For example, we have 3 lines here, and this is the first line. So after our text, before we added the semicolon, we will add another 2 angle brackets and the object endl. This will work. Or before we end our line here, as you can see kanina in double quotation, before we end the double quotation, we will add \n. So either of these two will work. We will be able to add new lines. So let's try that. We'll start with the NL. So like I said, right now, if we're going to run this one, both Hello World and Welcome to Computer Programming 1 is going to be rendered on a single line. So if we're going to add the Welcome to Computer Programming 1 line below the Hello World, there are 2 ways to do so. Unsa lang kitong una?
END.
Okay, so end line. How do we add the end line? It's to kaya na po balik-balik kung mga ngalan makita laging the race.
Sorry, sir.
Kinsa to?
Bilya, sir.
Abilia, go ahead. Abilia.
Utaan og end.
Okay. Before the end L, unsa toy iat yan ato? Chin Marie. Okay, kita kog laing nga ngalan. Chin Marie.
Kuan, sir, kanang siya the close friend. Katong murag arrow ganit, sir.
Open angle bracket. Okay. How many? How many?
Duha.
And then
Dayong end. Sa end.
and L. Okay.
Dayong.
All right. Do you think it's correct? What do you think is wrong with this line? Duwa nakabok ato ang semicolon. So let's remove the semicolon first. Okay? Let's try. C out hello world and L and then semicolon. Let's try if this is true, if this is correct. Let's save, execute, compile and run. Alright, okay, it's correct. So we're able to create a line break. So we have the first line as hello world, at the bottom it says welcome to computer programming 1. So that's one way. Another way is to, unsa ganito? For example, let's add another sentence here. C out. Alright, it's okay. Let's see. Okay, C out. We are ITS 101 class. Sakto ba ni? This is na lang. This is ITS 101 class. Alright, so right now, if we're going to run this, we can expect that Welcome to Computer Programming 1 and this is ITS 101 class, maghimo siya one line. So how do we break this down into 2 lines using the other way? Saan kito?
Dash N.
Hamlet, go ahead.
Backslash.
Asa na ko ibutang ang slash?
Sa akin na uli answer.
Asa ni dere?
Sa second line.
Yes, asa dapitaan eh. After sa semicolon, asa?
After una sa semicolon, sir. Una
Dere?
ang end of semicolon.
Kani? Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Let's try. Alright, it gave us an error. What do you think happened? Romano, go ahead.
After siya sa I, sir.
Alright. So this one right here is part of, dili na siya object. Let me see yung salad dito tawag niya ganun. Wala siya. But it's just a command to add a new line. So it's no longer an object. It's no longer an object like end L, but it's just going to be a command for a new line. So we're going to add \n inside our actual text. So may mo na siyang part sa text ba? But since it's \n, meaning it's just a command to create a new line. So that means if we're going to add it here, so again, this is no longer an object, but it is part of the string or part just a text. So \n, if we're going to save that and then compile and run, alright, so here, welcome, hello world, welcome to Comparative Programming 1. This is ITS 101 class. So we're able to break the lines individually. So there are two ways, okay? There are two ways on doing or how to break down your lines into your text into multiple lines. So that's it. So the good thing about maybe the proper way in breaking down multiple lines is kanin, ang pinaka-proper. However, the advantage of using this one is actually this. So we can just remove the third C out, and we can just copy this is ITS 101. We can copy this one, and we can erase this. And this is the benefit of using \n. We can just add \n and add our text, and here the compiler will treat it as one line, pero iyahang i-break down into two because of the \n. So let's try that. Let's save. Let's reload. Here, alright? So same output and nakatipid ta sa numbers of lines. So this time we're only using 2C out, but we're able to break down the Welcome to Computer Programming 1, and this is ITS 101 class by adding \n right after programming 1. So here, if ganahan ka makasave og C out, for some reason, di ka ganahan daghan kag C out, then you can always use this. Okay? But if you want it to be properly done, then you will use end line, and you need to add another C out at the bottom. Alright, so basically these are the code. You might want to take a screenshot, or later on I'm going to upload this file anyway. Alright, so for C++ output, kinsa to kabantay, kinsa to ni-erase. Just go ahead. Just go ahead. Huwag ka bantay. Na any question? Anthony, go ahead.
Sir, what if more than C out siya, sir? Magkuhan na ka? Mag-\n ra ka, sige, sir.
Kung ano dito, kung
magbutang pa kag C out, another C out.
Okay, like I said, you can add more C out if you'd like to. But by using \n, pwede na kang di na ka mo add og laing another C out. The compiler will treat it as a single line. However, it will break it down into multiple lines. It's because of the line \n. So just like I said, you can. The advantage of using \n is that you can just use one C out function. So for example, here, hello world. Let's remove this. Let's add it here. So we'll only be having one C out line na lang. Let's say hello world, and then by adding \n, so we have two \n's now, and line breaks here. So we only have one C out, but if we're going to run this, alright, it's going to have 3 lines because of the \n. That is if we're using itong line break na n/n. However, if we're going to use the end L, we need to do it individually. So if we're going to use end L, so we'll end here. So if you will use the proper way, which is using end L, so we'll have to do the C out individually. And then compile and run. So another case nga makasayop inyo is instead of C out, ibutang nyo N. Alright? Always make sure, because based on my experience with other students before, with the previous students, or past years, masave sila because ang C out na type nila as C count. Alright? Inana. So, if you're having problems with this, try to check your C out object. Maybe name mo count. Alright? Do you have any other questions before proceeding?
Answer.
Okay.
Answer.
Alright, so this would be the end. Basically, we can use C output, or we can use the C out to call out the values of variables, perform more complex function. It will be discussed in the next topic in the upcoming classes. So our next topic would be about variables. So some of you are already familiar with what variables are. So basically, we can use variables so that we can create programs that has more functionalities. This time around, it may not be as very useful. Our program today is not going to be very useful as it's supposed to, because this is just a very simple C++ program using an output function. But in our next meeting, we are going to make use of variables, and that way we can make use of a program. We can create a program that is a little more useful. Alright, so I don't think I am going to be busy next week, so we will resume our regular schedule, which is Wednesday, 9 to 11. And then hopefully after that, because ICS Bais has already scheduled for inspection. The schedule is like inspection, I think it was October 11 ang ilang schedule ng inspection sa NORSU. So if ma-inspect nila ng NORSU Bais and we will be given with a go signal, then we will schedule our face-to-face, limited face-to-face. But right now, we're still waiting for ICS Bais to check our facilities. So until then, we cannot do our online class. But for the meantime, we will resume with our scheduled weekly online class, which is every Wednesday. Okay. So for your assignment, by the way, do you have any questions before we end?
No, sir.
Alright. Please don't mind the deadline here. But for your assignment, you're going to create a program that will display the following text. Sayon ra kaayo, we actually just did it. Sayon ra kaayo. But you're going to enter your name. So, mayroon sang, hi, my name is, and your name. I am, and then your age, years old. I live in, and then your hometown. So, submit only the screenshot for the code and result. Inyong submit lang ang screenshot lang sa inyong code and the result. So, the deadline would be next week by Friday. So, what's Friday next week? Isn't it? Friday lang, because since I'm supposed to give you 1 week every time, even though mag-class tag Wednesday, but Friday lang deadline. But after that, our next assignment, Wednesday na po. October 14th. Alright, October 14th, that's the deadline at 11:59 p.m. So, again, your program output should look something like this. Hi, my name is Juleus or Publico. I am 25 years old. I live in Ayuno. So, just inani lang. So, we've already did it a while ago, although lahi raw, hello, gibutang, so you should be able to do it yourself. Okay? So, screenshot lang and the code. Screenshot lang sa code and results. So I'll be expecting 2 screenshots at least, and then just upload it on our Google Classroom once I've already posted the assignment, and assessment of course will also be posted there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions?
Okay, sir.
Answer.
All right.
Answer.
None. So we will
Ihatag na
end.
to,
Go ahead.
ihatag na to nimo, sir, right away, sir, after
Yeah.
this.
Since na ako'y 30 minutes before before ko mag-start ako another job, yes, I will be uploading it right after this class.
Sir.
If wala na question, kindly turn on your cameras.
Sir.
Go ahead.
Happy Teacher's Day.
Ay, thank you. Di ba kaya dapat magklase tatatong Teacher's Day? Ba, unsa to? Adlaw ganun October 5.
Nice news, birthday to Major.
Alright, thank you guys. Thank you for
Wednesday.
the greetings. Actually, up until now, I've already been teaching in NORSU for 3 years already. 3 years. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 3 years. But right now, I cannot believe I am a teacher actually. So because feeling na ako, mura ako kan ba? Mura ba ako classmate ako? Lasan. Alright, thank you so much guys, and sige, let's take a screenshot now. Let's take a photo now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Windows and smile. Isa. Wala ni gana akong screenshot. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay. Alright. Thank you so much guys, and I'll
Kesanoy.
Wednesday po. Okay? Bye-bye.
Sanoy the papa.
Bye, sir. Bye, sir.
Bye-bye, sir. God bless you.
Thanks, sir.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Bye-bye, sir.
God bless you, sir.
Bye-bye ito guys.
Ayun, lagi ng God bless.
Ana Jignes Bartolome yun.
Happy Teachers Day.
Pwede na ba, sir?
Oh, pwede na. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, sir.